guests, these are panelists here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mustaq. As mentioned, I'm the head of the trade mission of Denmark to Bangladesh with the Embassy of Denmark. I'd like to also start by thanking NCCI and Haque for arranging this wonderful event, this session here, and in collaboration with the Nordic Embassies, of course, from Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. This Food and Agro Symposium is quite timely, and I'm saying that not only because we have the Danish Food and Agro Council here with 8 Danish companies, but because this is a sector that really can have immense impact on the future, as we heard from the previous keynote speakers. On the prosperity of Bangladesh as it industrializes towards achieving its 2041 goals. I'll be moderating the session for today, and it's wonderful to see almost the full session. We're missing one person, and Mr. Monzur will hopefully make it here in time. Once again, welcome on stage. And the aim of this special session is really to have more high-level perspectives from each of our distinguished panelists in order to get a public sector perspective as well as the international perspective. And these are concerning the current state of affairs in Bangladesh and what direction Bangladesh needs to take in order to build a resilient and sustainable food system. And also how to go about mobilizing the investment needed domestically and internationally, not least in light of Vision 2041. So the structure is quite simple. I'll be asking a few questions. We'll take a round. We'll start from there and coming back. And if you can take 3-4 minutes to share your perspectives, and then we'll have the panel chair to share a summary with us. So I'll start with Engineer Nilufa. If I may ask, and we can start with the standards and testings part of things, how are the food and standards in Bangladesh evolving? And are those in alignment with the Codex Alimentarius?
Thank you. The Bangladesh Standards Institution is the national standard body for formulating national standards. We also provide laboratory testing facilities and offer certification for product certification, manufacturing certification, and also halal certification. So, for this institution plays a crucial role in involving food standards in the country. BSTI formulates new standards with the demand for new food products and also reviews the existing standards to keep in pace with updated technologies, hygiene, and food safety issues. We develop standards different sectors. Also in food sectors, we formulate food products. Recently, we have started halal food standards formulation. The Standard Development Committee is constituted by academicians, scientists, officials from government sectors, representatives from business officials, and such as BFSA, Dhaka Chamber of Commerce, leading manufacturers and entrepreneurs. Our expert committee also take consideration the view of the producers, consumers, technologists, and update trade practice and harmonize other international standards such as Codex and ISO. We have recent formulated 4,200 standards for different sectors. About this, we have 546 food standards. About these standards, we have 62% of harmonized international standards, like ISO Codex. So we have mandatory standards for food is 81, for this, about the food standards, is we control this safety of the standards.
Thanks. And so you mentioned that 62% are already harmonized.
What is the standards?
Also, we are awaiting our guests and panelists from BFSA, but maybe you can comment a little bit about how you link with BFSA, the Bangladesh Food Safety Authority.
Yes, I mentioned that we have the Standard Formulating Committee. The BSA members are all committee members are participating in the all committees in our food standards committees. I'm not mistake. Our Honorable Minister Agriculture and Food, he is the chairman of our sub-committees. Maybe he shall remember this.
Thank you very much. Now we move to the Ministry of Commerce. So, Mr. Shish Chowdhury, what are the key areas of improvement towards reaching Vision 2041 that need to be addressed in order to build a resilient and sustainable food system that we're talking about today?
Thank you very much. I'd like to extend my sincere respect to our Honorable Minister for Agriculture for his kind attendance here. He's not only an agriculturist but also a professional. With this kind of guidance we're working through, and with the able leadership of the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we are going to achieve the Vision 2041. And the basic slogan of Vision 2041 is the Smart Bangladesh, where we know everything that there will be smart citizen, smart government, smart society, as well as the smart economy. So for implementing the pillars, especially the smart economy, Ministry of Commerce, especially when I'm working basically now, I'm working in the Bangladesh Trade and Trade Commission, and I'm looking after the international cooperation as well as the trade policy. So the Ministry of Commerce, along with the other ministries, are basically responsible for implementing the smart economy. And of course, there are a few challenges Ministry of Commerce is experiencing, especially the post-2026 pending, that wherein we'll be graduating in the year of 2026. Lots of external cooperations will not be there. So so many different plans will have to be made. Some of the areas we have to look into at this moment of time. I'm not talking about specifically what Ministry of Commerce is doing for the food security and others, because the Minister of Agriculture as well as the Minister of Food is there to look after all these things, but we are cooperating in very many issues, because we are self-sufficient in food, but many other allied foods, so we have to go for import. In many of the cases, you will be finding that Ministry of Commerce, especially the Trade and Tariff Commission, is suggesting the government to take some of the actions in order to have a congenial atmosphere in the area of food security. The thing is that, you know, that our perspective plan 2021 to 2041 categorically says about the sustainable agriculture and food security, because you see the quality of life is changing, and the thing is that if you can achieve the 4 pillars of the Vision 2041, we'll definitely have a different society wherein the preference of food will be changed, because people will not be depending on the staple food only, but they will have more demand for the nutritious foods. So from that point of view, the Ministry of Commerce is in its export and import policy, they are incorporating a few more things in order to maintain the sustainability of the required food system. And the other one is that our tariff policy, which is in a draft position, will be, we are hoping that in the current parliament it will be placed, and hopefully this will be, the law will be enacted. There are also some areas that are addressed concerning the food security and safety. The other one is that about the international cooperation. We are finding that that capacity building is extremely important, and Ministry of Agriculture as well as Ministry of Food is looking after all these capacity building issues in order to maintain the quality food system.
So 2 questions. So one is that you mentioned the changes in tariffs as a draft tariff policy underway. So how do you believe that that might spur the exports from Bangladesh?
The thing is that you see, as we have said that we are self-reliant in self-food, rice. We are producing one of the biggest producers of the world as well as the biggest consumer. And some of the quality rices we have started exporting in some other countries of the world. Especially we'll be finding that Bangladesh is competing in the international market, especially the European and American markets, with our neighboring countries, India and Pakistan. And they are also a very big exporter of this quality staple foods. So the other areas also we are addressing too, which we call the allied foods. So some of the allied foods we have started exporting.
And then you mentioned some of the needs in terms of international partnerships. You mentioned capacity building, the need for that. That's at a government level. How do you see the role of international partnerships when it comes to business? Okay, give your comments or thoughts on that.
Yeah, I think that we are now concerned more about the graduation from 2026. So many issues we have to address by ourselves, because the partnership with international the development partners in some cases will go on, though the World Bank and the European Union are ensuring the continuation of their support till 2029, and some of the countries are also saying that they will be continuing after 2029, 2030, 2032. The thing is that cooperation, there is a continuous process in the agriculture field. We'll be finding that lots of cooperations are going on, and in the food sector as well. So in the Ministry of Commerce, we are having some of the projects supported by development partners, but majority of the projects we are taking by ourselves, wherein we are trying to combat the challenges of fourth industrial revolution. Fourth industrial revolution is a blessing for us, of course, but we have to face lots of challenges concerning the competitive advantage of many of the issues, and the trade regime and export diversification is also a very big challenge. You see, we are experiencing some of the things from some of the neighboring countries. Say, for example, we used to be the biggest exporter of jute, but unfortunately, we are experiencing some of the anti-dumping issues. So we are also addressing the trade remedies issues. So with the support of the development partners and some of the academicians, academia, we are trying to build up some of the experts who will be basically looking after the issues of these trade remedies, anti-dumping, countervailing, and safeguard measures. The other one is that concerning the trade policy, we are finding that in one hand we are concerning about our food security. At the same time, we are also to look after the income to be generated by the National Board of Revenue. So at one point of time, you will be finding that we are waiving the taxes from some imports to ensure the safety stock of the food soil and dried foods. But afterwards, we are also to take care of the revenue generation, because we are going to increase our budget by more than 10% in the coming year.
Thank you. And now to, you have been active, and IFAD has been active here for a very long time. If you can just share with us what IFAD is doing towards creating a more resilient and sustainable food system here, and your perspectives on that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Yeah, for me and for IFAD, Bangladesh is a super interesting country. I work in Latin America, and the big problem there in most countries is that there is a very limited internal market. But in this country, you have a country with an enormous internal market, a GDP which is growing all the time. You've got 34 million people now, which is middle class or affluent class. And 7% of the population is in working age. So then on top of that, you're close to India, close to China, and you're planning, for example, for 100 economic zones. So there is enormous potential for food processing in this country. But there is also a but. We have an agricultural system which is not very diversified. It's very much focused on rice production, and that is logical because you want to be self-sufficient. But the population is changing and is demanding other things, and that's why we're importing enormous amounts of more specialized foods. But also because there is a problem in terms of cold chain. We still lose about 32% before it reaches the consumer. I'm talking about the consumer, yeah. There is a regularity framework which needs working on, although there is good progress. I think we need to rethink that. We can't just copy EU rules, European rules, because the structure of the sector is very different in this country. And also we need a change of attitude. We need much more proactive supply chain management from our companies. I mean, I won't say the name of the company, but we work with a lot of small farmers. So we approached the company and asked, how can we engage? What did they do? They sent us their 5-page rule book of all the things you have to comply with. If you look at the structure of the agricultural sector, you're talking about millions of very, very small farmers. So you won't have the traditional system of drivers, which are normally based on volume and economics. You need to work actively with these producers. And some companies already do that, like Arnoud or Bangle Meat is starting to do it. The biggest example is actually the tobacco industry. They are totally sorted out. But you can't just sit back as a private company and wait till the product reaches you. You will have to go out there and be proactive, and maybe even in our standards. We did that in some countries in Latin America. Don't copy the standard. I have alternative standards, for example, for the internal market and other standards for the external market. The other problem I see, which we still have in Bangladesh, it surprises me, is that the farmers are not well organized. There's very few legally established farm cooperatives. So it's also for us as development bank very difficult to engage. And we have 10,000 farm groups, but they're in the air. They don't legally exist. And I think it's an area which needs a lot of work on, especially if you want to have efficient extension systems, aggregation systems, so you can provide the industry. So you need to go much more in a partnership approach. Because at the end, a sustainable food system has 3 factors. No? There's the economics, there's the environmental impact, but it's also about healthy diet decisions and healthy foods. And there I see a potential problem in the future. I think it's an area which needs urgent attention. And we are urbanizing the country, but we're not modernizing our food habits. And And as a consequence, what you see is an increasing number of people with overweight, which make bad food choices. I think that's an area, especially in the public sector, also needs to still work on. But for the rest, I think there's an enormous future in this sector. And as our minister knows, we're working on my colleague of the World Bank, we recently approved a very, very big investment in the agricultural sector, which is focused on good agricultural practices, diversification, certification. So there is an enormous effort of the public sector to invest. But what we now need is the engagement with the private sector. And that's still very difficult. Everybody will agree with me, the public sector is afraid for the private sector. Needs more experience in working together and really achieving these goals for the country. But I think it's step-by-step approach. I think this is one step. Please use all these Nordic businessmen who sit there in the back, get experiences out of them. What we did with winning together in Bolivia was a B2B program, which gave brilliant results in various sectors, which are still working. So I think everything is there. It's now taking initiatives and steps forward. Thank you.
Arnoud, thank you very much. And what we'll do is to take a few questions now. And if there's any questions in the hall, you may raise your hand, state your name and the company you're from, and then we will have a round through the panel. No, I think they just need 10 seconds.
Hi, Taza Islam, investment lead from BD Venture Limited. We are a venture capital firm. Like you mentioned, from IFAD, you said that you have a large amount of investment for Bangladesh. I believe you have been working with government agencies. So, is there any plans to collaborate with the private sector?
In some of our programs, we have opportunities for investing, but mainly, I have to say honestly, in small businesses. And we are starting, because even for the ministry, it's still difficult how to do that. So it took us a year to get the rule book sorted out. So it's starting. I think you also have IFC here in this country, which is very active. IFC from the World Bank, which you should reach out to and step out to. They have a big agricultural program, which has also private sector investment. But if in the future there is interest, and also as IFAD, we could set up a program which focuses on the private sector, as long as we can show that there are benefits for producers. We do that at certain value chains with the program we have with BFSA, where we actually invest in the private sector to make sure that there are benefits for small farmers. But I have to say, our focus at the end of the day is to get better income of small producers. But if that means we have to invest in the private sector, that's not a limiting factor necessarily. Thank you so much.
We have a question here towards the corner.
Thank you very much. This is Arnoud. I'm working at SCA Agribusiness. So you know SCA Agribusiness is the as a whole, SCA is the largest conglomerate corporate in Bangladesh. So, in SCA Agribusiness basically provides some kind of complete solution for the farmers. So now, working with the farmer, we are still now we are seeing that some kind of climate change impact for the farmer. So is there any thought, future climate change adaptation, weather forecasting? Because already Rutapa was saying that data is very much important. So weather data, climate change adaptation, climate smart agriculture, have you need to work with this private sector as well?
No, we are working on that. We are already working with various programs and early warning systems. That's the first step. Data is very difficult because India doesn't want to give us some of the data. It's a limiting factor, especially in terms of the early warning systems. But yes, I think a lot of the investment which we do together with the government, with the World Bank, etc., is focused on climate proofing the agricultural system and take some of the risks out. And that can be through insurance, that can be through investment in infrastructure, it can be through diversification of production. There are various pathways of going forward. So we are investing together with the Bangladesh government in that. Because we do realize that for the private sector to invest in a sector which has lots of risks is very difficult and drives them away. And that's why we need to do this climate proofing. But from the other side, I'm always amazed how Bangladesh, with all the inundation, everything, how far they are already advanced in working with climate change. Because they've done it for the last 50 years. It's not something new, Bangladesh. So if you compare that, I'm working also sometimes in Pakistan, where this is a new phenomenon. It's very different. But here, you are already quite adapted. But yes, there's still a lot to do, and that's what doesn't not get worse. What worries me much more is the temperatures, combined with humidity in the future. I hope this answers.
All right, thank you. I think we have one more question.
My name is Nils Mano. I'm the MD of ACI Corp. We are a joint venture with ACI, and we've already heavily invested. And one of the things I'd like to know is, I don't know if this is the right panel here, do we plan to make it easier for us to invest? Because it's not that easy. We have to import stuff. Import duties are incredibly high. We have to get people from outside. Visas not as difficult as it was, but there's still a lot of hassle. And once production is going on, raw materials that are not available here, we have to import. And also here, we have to pay 50, 90, up to 100% import duty. So being an international company in Bangladesh is not that easy. It's very expensive. And we are hoping to see some improvements. We hear about trade union with Sri Lanka is going on, and there might be. But are there any plans of making this easier? Because if you want more international investments, you need to make it easy for us. And trust me, I don't feel it's been easy. Thanks.
It's a very interesting question. Who would like to?
Thank you very much. The government is always very keen to make sure, we call it ease of doing business. So, but lots of statements, what you have said right now, many of the people will be saying that, no, I am not getting support from different agencies. You see, the government already established BIDA, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority is there. They are looking after the investment issues. The National Board of Revenue is looking at the different taxes and duties. Bangladesh Trade and Tariff Commission is looking after the trade facilitation issues, especially whenever a particular investor is keen to invest here in this country, how efficiently we can extend this support to the investors. Thank you very much for saying that you are heavily investing in this country and for choosing this country. It's a very good investment, Arnoud, out of this. But we we acknowledge, we confess that in many of the cases you are not getting support, but government is very keen to extend its all-out support, because we need to see that foreign investment is coming from outside, as well as the private investment goes on. And that's why Ministry of Commerce is always routinely they are doing the stakeholders engagement issues at a particular issue. Say for example, if we conclude any free trade agreement or preferential trade agreement with one of the external countries, beforehand we have to go for the stakeholders consultations, because we have to make sure that whether the investors will be affected with all these things. Thank you.
And we'll take the last question, and then we will go for the wrap-up.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Chowdhury. I am from the Embassy of Denmark. I'm a trade advisor here. And I just wanted to ask whoever wants to take it on the panel that what, in your opinion, are the most critical food standards that need to be implemented to go from where we are now to reach our vision for 2041?
And I would request Mr. Monzur to take a chance on that. Food safety standards and hygiene quality.
Thank you very much. First, I actually apologized for late appearance, unfortunately. Thank you very much. The question is very pertinent. You know, food standards and food quality is very important for every country. And this year, yesterday we observed the World Food Safety Day, and the slogan was, "Food standards save lives." So you can understand the importance of food standards for this slogan. So the European Union actually and other developed countries, they set standards for their own domestic citizens. So these standards actually risk-based and very high standard. But for the compliance of these standards in Bangladesh is still, we are lagging behind. We are currently harmonizing all of our food safety and quality standards with international standards like Codex and European Union, Australian standards and other standards. So we are working very hard, Bangladesh Food Safety Authority, Bangladesh Standards Testing Institute, and the relevant departments like Department of Livestock, Department of Fisheries, Department of Agriculture Extension, all the primary producers of food, and also the industry, those who are processing and exporting products like fish inspection, quality control, inspection and quality control department and other departments. We are working and trying to harmonize our standards with international standards so that our product can be compliant in the European market and other countries. So our own domestic people will also enjoy high standard and good food, as well as we can export our own foods and we can earn more foreign exchange in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And just to add that we're very excited from the Nordic and the Danish side, not least to explore collaboration with BFSA, with you and your counterparts in Denmark, the Danish Food and Veterinary Agency. So quite excited also about some of the international partnerships that are able to happen and just go forward. Now to the final stage, I will ask Mr. Momtaz Uddin, who is NDC, DG Ministry of Food, the national convener of UN Food Systems here, to, having heard about the entire panel, some of the questions that we've had, what are the key areas that you picked up here from today's conversation to build a resilient and sustainable food systems in light of also mobilized investments and in light of moving towards 2041 and the targets that go there? Over to you.
Thank you very much for asking these questions. Honorable Minister, Minister of Food, Mr. Mohammed Rajab, our Excellencies, Minister Petersons, Ambassador of Denmark, and other distinguished guests, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. At the beginning, I would like to answer the questions asked by the panel moderator. So I need to answer the question. Then I will wrap up the whole panel discussions. Then I will put some issues that need to be addressed. So, what are the key areas? Questions: what are the key areas to address for investments? So, a lot of fields are here to invest or to address or to work in Bangladesh. Because especially as I thank especially to the GAIN and the Nordic NCCI for arranging this very important and valuable conversation sessions, discussion sessions. So many experts are here. The one field maybe the research in maybe in agriculture and research for capacity building of the food planning and monitoring unit of the Ministry of Agriculture. Because agriculture, Ministry of Agriculture, then we can see the tremendous development in the agriculture sectors. It is a contribution of the Ministry of Agriculture and the researchers, especially Ministry of Agriculture produces and the Ministry of Food ensure the distributions of food, ensure the food security for each and every citizen. So we work together. Another one is the diversification of agriculture. So I am also talking about the areas. And biofortification of agriculture, that is an important sector where we can work together. Fortification of rice, and you know that in Bangladesh, huge quantity of rice our rice is highly polished, for which the rice loses its own nutrition, micronutrient elements. That is important thing. So in that field, fortification of rice, we have introduced kernel rice, fortified rice. We distribute fortified. We mix fortified rice with polished rice in the food-friendly program and other program also. We can work hugely for diversification of food. Mainly food and another factor is food processing system. In our country, you know, the Nordic countries are very much advanced in this field, especially food processing. In Bangladesh, we are lagging behind in this field tremendously. So food processing is a very important issue from the farmer to the consumers. There is a big field to work in this field, especially to ensure the safe and nutritious food for the consumers. Also, the technological support is very important. Another thing is another sector is the mechanization of agriculture, because another field is awareness of awareness building to the consumers, because we are taking huge food, but we need to know which food is nutritious. That is important. So in this field we can work. The Ministry of Food has prepared a pathway document for food system transformation with the cooperation of the other ministries, in collaboration with other ministries and divisions, and also GAIN has supported highly to gain a mass project, World Food FAO, and other development partners have supported us and in this field. We can work to reduce the loss of the food, huge food rice is lost every year. And then another field is to ensure food quality, Codex Alimentarius. We are following that. We need more laboratories in this field. And that's all. I think now let me develop the panel discussions. Engineer Nilufa has emphasis on rule of BSTI, food standard development, the quality assured, laboratory establishment, experts. They are working to ensure standards as per requirement, food safety, and she has also told the 62% harmonized of standards. Mr. Shish and Chowdhury, she has said that talk about smart Bangladesh, international cooperations, smart economy challenges, tariff commercial systems, continual atmosphere of food system, sustainability of food systems, capacity building, aromatic rice exporting is talk about, supporting business communities and the development partners, trying to combat the challenges of food iron, trade regime, diversification is a challenge, trade policy, and in responsible questions, ease of doing business, the rule of Peter, NBR, Tariff Commission, and he's also talked about the government came to support stakeholders and conversation. And Mr. Arnoud, he has talked about the 100 special economic zones where we can invest. There are huge scopes to make investment in that special economic zone. He's talked about food processing, population changes, food consumption, regulatory framework needed, change strategy and management system, structure of agriculture, proactive standard of export quality, farmers cooperative, partnership approach, healthy diet, private sector's involvement, needs to take initiative, and in response to the questions, he has talked in future private sector investment and climate change adoption, and they have been working. So the last question in response of the last questions, Mr. Monzur question, member of Bangladesh Food Sector Authority, he has talked about the codex. We have been following the codex elementaries, and also inspection and quality control is going on by them. These are the brief of the seminars all about. But and we know that the Ministry of Food, there is a wing, there is acting the food planning and monitoring unit. We have been working together, at least 18 ministries and development partners, and we are working together to ensure safe and nutritious food, and also the gain is one of the most important partner. Again, is working very closely with us and other countries, and the ministries are working. So we have some challenges. This I'm talking about the challenges while we need to challenges still remaining, and we need to address those challenges. I will not explain, but I'll only say mention it as the time is running fast. So the one is the high level of food loss and waste. That is very important. We have conducted a research, a very small research, and we have seen that 9.2% rice is consumed, is rice is used for non-human purpose. Our total rice production was in the last year 381.44 million. But this fiscal year 23-24, the target is much more than 381 million. Also, then if we quantify the 9.2%, it's a big loss. And the loss is a very high figure. It is really surprising. So it is a very, the FPO has conducted this research at a small level. And this is also, the findings are also, findings matches with other research also. That is, we have shown that the loss amount is near about 15%. That is a big amount. If not, another thing is the food systems, how the food system transformation is happening in Bangladesh. Just I am giving you one example. A few years, the per capita rice intake was, it is 463 gram per day. But the previous year it was 387 gram rice intake per person per day. But as per last BBS report published a few months ago, it is 328.79 gram per capita consumption in our country. And you see, our research our research says that the fruit production has been increased to 160%, and vegetable consumption or food consumption is as 66% increase. Vegetable production is more than 72%. So that is tremendous changes in food system. I'm just giving one example how the food transformation is happening in Bangladesh. Very importantly. So just challenges I'm talking about challenges: high level of food loss and waste, recurrent climate disaster, unhealthy diet and habits, improving road connectivity and market infrastructure in rural areas. It is also questions. Agri-food processing and value chain development, that is very important to address. Ensuring remunerative prices for farmers, male-female waste parity, implementation of One Health, inclusion of year-in policy, and resource gain. These are the challenges. If we can address those things. And thank you once again to the presenter, Dr. Uddin, and the NCCI, and Gain. And thank you once again, sir, for the passions. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. These were the final words, and we will simply wrap up. Thank you very much for all the panelists to be here, and thank you for listening so intently. There will be a few more panels coming up that will go more granular, because sometimes in order to unleash the creativity and dynamism of people and companies, you will need policies, legislation, and regulation, but also sometimes it is required to simplify it, as we've also learned from some of the questions from the audience and actual investors here. So thank you very much for listening. I believe there will be more instructions now. Thank you.